Hi guys, my name is Destiny Beavers and this is my presentation on the McMillan Sisters. So first let's talk about some pictures I have posted here just so you guys can get an idea and understand who and what the faces are while I'm talking about this. So this is Margaret McMillan. She is one of the sisters that we're going to be talking about, and this is Rachel McMillan. These ladies are American-born sisters who relocated to Europe to kind of further their socialism and how they wanted to be involved. And at this time in America, it was kind of broken for them to be there, kind of hard for women to even have a chance. So, they moved to Europe and England specifically to, kind of get a start in the world and understand where they are and, just further their educations. Up here in this corner, we have a picture of one of their open-air nursery schools that we're going to be talking about later in the presentation. So let's just start with some basic history on who are they. The McMillan Sisters, like I said, are American-born sisters who relocated to kind of understand other countries and how their socialism and how they're working together as a team. Margaret, from the very beginning, had a very, very strong interest in education, along with Rachel, but specifically Margaret knew that there was something special about education and wanted to learn everything that she could about educating children. In 1893, Margaret got appointed on a school board in England, and that was very exciting for Margaret because she finally got a chance to make a difference in the children's lives. So from the very beginning of her time on the school board, she noticed that there was something wrong with the way that the children were being educated, almost like that they were distracted, other kids were distracted. So finally she came up with a saying that if you research the McMillan Sisters, you'll see a lot, Margaret saying, you cannot educate a dirty child. And what she means by that is that educating a dirty child, one that doesn't feel good about themselves already, one that isn't being fit in socially with kids at school, is going to have a hard time learning in any sort of environment, great private school or, public school, just like everyone else. So from the very beginning, Margaret notices that she needs to do something about the hygiene of the children at the school. So fast forward Margaret's time on the school board, she has communicated with parents, sent home hygiene packets, installed school lunch program to ensure that students are getting lunch while they're at school, and also has made medical examinations a part of the daily, or I should say yearly school program. So, the whole lice and like that kind of bug stuff. We're having teachers and educators being able to check and ensure that their students aren't having those problems. In 1902, unfortunately, council changed public schools, which put the county council in charge of the school education program, which was a horrible thing for Margaret because, unfortunately, back in 1902, women were not allowed to be on the school board in England or council board or whatever. Women weren't allowed to make those kinds of decisions. So, of course, Margaret was upset to leave behind all of her work that she had done with the school board, and but she ended up moving with Rachel, which was good because her and her sister were able to reconnect. So one day, while walking down the road with her sister Rachel, they discovered this very poor neighborhood that had small homes, with like 5 to 10 children in one-bedroom homes, sharing a bed. Food was scarce. That there was a hygiene problem. So naturally, Margaret's instincts are to get involved as soon as possible. Help these kids, spread them out, make sure that they're getting all the food, all the basic necessities they need. Make sure hygiene. Margaret was a huge standard in hygiene. So fast forward, she's already been working in this environment. Rachel has now become more involved in the situation to try to ensure that we can get this small kind of poverty-stricken neighborhood on the up and up. So Rachel and Margaret come up with these camp ideas. So first they start off with a girls' camp. This camp was for ages 6 to 14. So the camp was no means trying to replace their personal home, but was trying to allow them to have space for, human growth and their development and, to, of course, promote proper hygiene. So, like I said, these camps were just some basic necessities, basic shelter, basic beds, make sure they had enough food and water, and everyone was involved in the shelter plan. It was really nice. And of course, Margaret and her sister always were sure to make sure that they were not replacing their home life or their families or such. Now, these were called girl camps. Shortly after girls' camps, they obviously decided that they needed a boys' camp. So they then initiated boys' camps where the same ages, 6 to 14, they would fill in these camps. Now, at a time, they could hold about 17 children in these camps. They were rotated, to make sure that everyone was getting treated fairly. I'm noticing after working with these children in the day camps, Margaret and Rachel decide that they need to offer this on a smaller scale almost. They realize that, they need to intervene in an earlier age. So they decide to come up with nursery camps or nursery programs. The sisters notice that children need help from the early age, so they need more room for growth and development at an earlier age than they do whenever they're at an older age. In the very first beginning years of lives, that's whenever our brains and our sensory motors are ultimately developing. So that is when they need to make sure that they have enough, room to grow and develop. And having 5 to 10 children smushed into a 1-bedroom apartment with one bed is just not enough room for growth and development. The open-air nursery programs were designed to not replace homes, but to allow healthy growth. So, this is a picture of a open-air nursery program. It's kind of hard to see in my iPad, but there are large windows here. There's plenty of room. They refer to it as a learning garden. There's green outside. There's fresh air. There's plenty of room. And the pictures, you can see small children, socializing with one another. There's small tables to fit their size so they're not sitting at a giant table. This is really what their open air nursery programs were all about. They were all about allowing air to breathe in the garden. They talk about how children need gardens to grow and how we should treat a student's education like a garden because we have to give it all the proper nutrients and stuff before or to allow it to grow. So let's fast forward some more years to 1917 when Rachel passed away on March 25th. I'm sure you can imagine that Margaret was just so upset that she lost her sister like anyone else would be. She talks about how her sister meant the world to her and how she could have never developed such a great educational plan without her. After her sister passed away, she did want to continue her education even in later years in life. She took an interest in nursing, which is really cool because she not only knew the educational side of children's growth and development, but also was learning the scientific side to human growth and development. About 15 years later, Margaret passed away. She passed away on March 29th of 1931. Some very close friends wrote very nice memoirs about the sisters after Margaret passed away, about how they were truly an asset to education, and they were the most careless people who just wanted to change the world. And after researching the McMillan Sisters, I cannot say that I do not agree. So that's about it for my presentation. I will be uploading my informational handout. Okay? Thank you guys so much.